for the serious gamer.
Next Gen Tactics! It's Guns for Hire here with a weapons demo. Sort of a weapons demo. It's weapons and equipment. And this time we're going to showcase the power and the annoyance of the tank. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, World at War, one of the most hated things in the game. Personally, I don't have a problem with them if someone's in them. However, most people have a problem with them when I'm in them. Yes, they do. There are techniques to using the tank. Number one, and a lot of people don't use these because I watched the kill cam a lot. This right there where I'm doing. They do not, and I clear my throat as well. Why edit that out? A lot of people fail to use the zoom. So while you're in the tank, it's still the same thing with the with your trigger buttons when you're aiming. So it'll zoom in and it will make your shot more accurate. And what happens is you'll notice sometimes when you think you got a shot off on this sort of third person type view, if you use the zoom in, you'll notice some of the cases that your shot is actually obstructed. So it's actually a good practice to get in and using the zoom feature, or the sort of, I don't know, whatever, you know what I mean. Aiming in, zooming in, whatever you want to call it, feature with the tank, because it will reduce the number of misses or the number of times that you hit objects that are obstructing your view that you normally wouldn't actually see. Now, what I normally do, there's three things I do. One, I blow the crap out of the enemy. Yes, I mean, that really is the main thing. Number two, I destroy tanks. And I don't mean just enemy tanks. I mean tanks in general. Whether they're, on our side or the enemy. The reason why I do that, and I only destroy the ones that are sort of neutral or on our side. Now, I think I'm going to be looking for a new tank here. Here's the zoom again that you want. So while he's having a problem aiming in, because he's probably just shooting from, and I die once, so maybe this is where I die. I don't know. I do die. Whoa, I better get the heck out of there. No. Oh, and the third thing that I do with tanks, other than, killing the other people, the enemy players, destroying all tanks, the other thing is I use them to actually as a cover, like an armored vehicle. Not necessarily that I'm going to make kills with them, but I go in to get kills with my actual weapons. And all I do is actually run in, and you'll notice a lot of players, whenever you're in a tank, they assume you're going to stay in that tank no matter what. I put an SMG on, like a Type 100, or you can put the MP40 if that's what you really like. I put an SMG on, and what I do is I drive into a sort of a busy area, and you're going to see them swarm it. And they're going to be so focused on either throwing grenades or getting the satchel charges on there that they're not going to expect you to jump out of the tank. And that's what you do. You jump out as they're... like that, right there. That's exact... Yes, perfect timing. You see that? Didn't even plan that, but it worked out beautifully. So what I do is you watch the areas. Believe me, it's very, very effective when you do that. Stay in the tank. It'll attract them. They get so brave. People get so brave when they're coming up to tanks that for whatever reason, they'll come right up to that tank. And the second they start getting close enough to it, because they think either they can run around it or maybe throw a grenade on it, you hop out, make the kill with your SMG, and then pop back in. And then Bob's your uncle, and you keep on going. And there's obviously some tanks. Now, that's one thing you want to do. Tanks, while you can't see them always on the... on your small map or whatever, if you use, like, I'm talking about neutral tanks, tanks that no one has claimed. If you use your map, then you will be able to see all the neutral ones. And I suggest, if you hate them, it doesn't matter if you hate them or not, even if you don't, then blow them up. Because if you don't go in them, if you don't get inside a tank, or one of your teammates, and this is sort of my second rule, like when I said there's three things that I do, and the second thing is blow up tanks. If you do not blow up tanks, look at this, just slaughtering them with this thing. People are horrible with tanks. Anyway, if you do not blow them up, you can be guaranteed that someone from the enemy team is going to hop in and cause a lot of chaos for you. So even if you don't like them, get in one, go over to the other, and blow it up. Okay, if your teammate's not hopping in it, then blow it up. Lucky for me, and I believe I do that here. So the other one's is wounded, but it's not out. And for me, I don't like leaving that. So there you go. And that's exactly what I do. I never, ever leave a tank. I don't care if it's, you know, critical, because someone could hop in. Anyone in a tank, even if it's like blazing red, you can't kill them, and they're going to kill you. So the best thing to do is, oh, look at that, crazy. The best thing to do is to actually blow it up, okay? Even if it's full health, before you go back into battle, blow the crap out of that tank. Unless one of your teammates is going to hop in it, unless you're communicating with them, don't assume so. You do not want to have, you know, 3 enemy tanks coming at your team, because you'll get killed real easy. Now, as far as perks go, if you're looking for a very effective perk, the most effective perk that you can have as a tank driver, if you're going to be solely looking to get kills, is Ordnance Training. It allows you to reload your main cannon a lot faster, and don't worry about, you know, the strength or anything like that. If you get Ordnance Training, believe me, you're going to be able to take down the other tanks. They're not going to stand a chance. I don't care if they have, like, the, you know, the increased power. Turret, who gives a crap about the turret? Turret, you're asking it to get killed. If you're in the turret, some sniper's going to kill you. Anyone is going to kill you. I look for people in the turret of the tank, and they're the easiest targets, because the tanks are slow moving, and you're a stationary, your head is like a huge target, and you're going to die. Do not waste your vehicle perk on anything to do with the turret. Don't even worry about that. It's an absolute waste of time. And that being said, if you're walking around, getting inside the turret, you're asking again to die. Do not go in the turret. It is a very dangerous position to take. It is not worth it. Now here, again, what we're using, moving back and forth. You want to stay in motion, especially if you're fighting a tank. But the Ordnance Training is going to pound them. Even if you're going to lose, even if you're taking some hits, if you start at the same time and they don't have Ordnance Training, you will win. You will win that battle. They will die. You will win. There you go. No worries. Now someone, is that someone in the turret? Because it's kind of foolish. Now I think that's the tank at the very back. Again, that's my concentration here. If you're in a tank, you really should be doing that. Other than, you know, I'm killing people, but the main priority is to destroy those tanks. If you really hate them, then that's what you should do. Go in there and just totally annihilate the friggin' tanks. Get rid of them, because the enemy's going to get in them, and they're going to cause a lot of problems for your teammates, okay? So that's it. Ordnance Training. Remember to pop out. Destroy any tanks that you've left behind. Even if, maybe if it's on the other side of the map, throw a grenade at the tank that you were just in. If it's like really red, get rid of it. Because even a tank that's on red, it can be problematic for your teammates, okay? Yeah, I mean, it's an easy blow up, but if they're not thinking, if they're, you know, I can usually probably get about 3 kills from a tank that's red, and I'll hop in tanks that are red all the time, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, sometimes they're traps and people have satchel charges sitting back waiting for you to hop in, but, you know, vehicles aren't bad. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people have reservations about having vehicles in maps or in games, in first-person shooter games. But you know what? It adds a depth or a complexity to the game that normally isn't there. Now, while you maybe you find tanks to be a pain in the ass, you know what? Maybe you find tanks to be a pain in the ass because you don't know how to deal with them. That's generally the case. I don't have a problem with tanks. I never end up having a bad game because someone was in a tank. Never, ever, ever. Tanks are slow as hell. They're only deadly or problematic if you don't know how to deal with them, if you're running up to them, if you don't know how to take cover. You know, I just avoid them. They're incredibly slow, and there's only a limited number of them. They add some sort of complexity to it. They add a realism to it. I mean, this is war. There's tanks in war. I think they should even have... I mean, if you look at... what is it? Battlefield Bad Company 2, they got all sorts of crazy things you can hop in, drive on, helicopters, all sorts of stuff like that. And people love that game. It doesn't really matter if there's helicopters and stuff. It's part of the game. You just get used to it, and you learn to deal with them. And they're not always problematic. Both sides have them. Yeah, it ends up being a pain in the ass, and you get killed by helicopters. Guess what? That's what happened in friggin' wars, which is what this is trying to simulate. It's not real life. I get it. You don't have to be going, this is just a video game. But it's meant to simulate situations, war-like situations. And what war does not have vehicles? I mean, seriously. Is everyone on foot? I mean, unless this is like back in the 1600s or something, then maybe that would be true. But it's not. So, vehicles don't bug me. Anyway, that's how you use a tank. A tank, my friend. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, it's cheesy. Anyway, I'm Guns for Hire from Next Gen Tactics. Peace.